Good morning, everybody. All right, so Chewy and Junior are outside going to the bathroom. Insert clip here. A good mama knows the sound of her baby. Junior's outside taking her outside to go potty. I was like, I hear her. She's right there. They're both right there. That's pretty funny. Oh, look at them. This is me being creeper status. Okay, so now with that being said, you saw them walking up. So if I time this right, they should be walking in that door any second. Any second. Okay, so if I time this right, you saw them walking up. So they should be walking in that door any second. Unless the elevator's taking a long time. Oh, I hear him. I hear him. They're at the door. I told you, look, we timed it perfect. Wow, the AC just went on. Hi, we saw you.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
And you saw that she didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Sad, isn't it?
I heard her barking. I was like, is that Chewy? And I looked down. I was like, they're right there.
All she did was bark.
No, I'm sorry. But it is day 2, and we are ready to go to UniCon. Chewy wants to say hello, up close and personal. Hello. Oh my goodness. All right.
Cute.
All right, we're gonna head out.
Ready to go right over there.
Right across the street.
Right over there.
Right there.
That building.
Let's go. Hey guys, welcome to day 2 of UniCon. Junior's in here getting his coffee.
Gotta get my caffeine on. This day's gonna be a crazy one.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The little store is like a little convenience store type of thing.
There, 4 more years. Let's cheer it up. Cheer it up.
Greetings, citizen.
First of all, I think you're such a fan favorite character in this film because the way Zemeckis really threads the story here, seeing you in the beginning, all those notes of stuff with 4 more years, re-elect Mayor Wilson, and then we get to go into Lou's Cafe and really meet you at the beginning of your journey. It's such a special thing. Tell us about when you were first reading the script and you saw this character. It's a very nuanced character. It must have been a real privilege to play it. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, thank you very much, Mike Davis from Five. I never really saw a script. I just met with Steven Spielberg, Robert Zemeckis, and Bob Gale, and they asked me some questions. And that was it.
What kind of questions did they ask you?
They asked me if I could sing, first of all.
Which he can. Which he can.
And if you know that
better
was
than my
me
Earth
singing
Angel?
Earth Angel when Harry walked out. That was me. I didn't get that part though.
Really?
He did.
I
love him.
Can I say something? Can I say something? Can I say something? Well, you are so funny when you dance in that scene while you're serving, while Crispin Glover is doing his thing and you're back there dancing.
Thank you so
How
much.
funny was that?
I didn't have any words, so I had to do something.
You did so good.
Oh, you're awesome.
See, look at the love we're having on stage. She wasn't in love with Michael J. Fox, but she was in love with your performance, just to be clear. Let me just understand what you were saying. You're basically saying when you met for the first time with Robert Zemeckis and Spielberg, there wasn't really a script. They were just trying to talk to you, but maybe they were considering you for the part of your friendly counterpart down there. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, with hindsight being 20/20 vision, that's exactly what they were doing. Because they asked me some questions. I can't really remember what it was. They were just basically having a conversation with me. And I do remember the one question they asked me was, could I sing? And I hesitated. And by me hesitating, he got the part.
Wow. See, if we've learned something here today,
and
don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. But I do think the way this worked out is a beautiful ending because
it was cast perfectly. I'm just teasing, making fun about it. We joke all the time. I think that they cast this film absolutely perfectly. Everyone's character, everybody portrayed their character to the level of believability that we're here 30 some odd years later talking to you guys.
It's really a sweet thing. And I would like to ask you another thing before we move on down the line for a second, because you also voiced Nurse George in Up. You've done a lot of different roles, but to me, as a guy looking from the outside in, and what I think is so special about this film and what makes Zemeckis such a great storyteller is the tone. And if you think about it and you give some perspective to the time period, everybody, when this film is being shot in '84 and then it's released in '85, a lot of comedies of the time were more lewd. You had Animal House, you had Porky's, you had Fast Times, which, you did a little bit of a TV series reenactment thing of that. The thing is, the time period, comedies that were successful were lewd. And then Back to the Future comes out, and this tone that had to be expertly hit, was a tough thing to pull off. And from your perspective as an actor, how were they developing that tone on set? Because a lot of times artists, directors, writers, they try to achieve that, but then it gets lost in the production. What was it like on set, and how do you think they achieved that tone?
Well, because of the fact that the film was shot compartmentalized, the first time with Eric Stoltz, everybody had a chance to lay back and really get into whatever it is they were trying to get into. And then the second time around with Michael J. Fox, it was compartmentalized. So in answer to your question, I didn't really have the opportunity to work in those scenes or on days where those types of questions were addressed, i.e. the almost incestuous type situation between Marty and his mother. But I remember that Zemeckis just allowed the actor to go with whatever was coming naturally from inside. And it was never too much of this way or that way. I think everybody kind of got the feel of what was happening.
Okay. All right. Now let's move it on down the line to Chuck Berry's cousin, if you remember from the film. It's Marvin Berry. It's Harry Waters Jr. Harry, we met in the bathroom earlier. It's a lot.
And we were just washing hands.
And we were best friends even washing hands in the bathroom. So now I think this is going to go perfectly. You scared me. I was concerned for your health. I watched the movie again last night. I know I know the whole scene,
right.
But I still was scared that you were potentially bleeding in real life.
Well, sometimes you have to potentially bleed in order to let the audience have a real lived live experience. So you might see there's some blood on my jacket.
See, I love it.
To go for veritas.
It's amazing.
Veritas, that's a theater word.
See, and we should talk about your background. As you can see, this guy has an elegance to him on stage. You can know that this man is Ivy League, Princeton educated over here on the stage.
But I'm also wearing Las Vegas socks in honor
so that means
of the
he's a fun professor at Princeton.
Well, actually, I'm not a professor.
Well, no, you're right at McAllister.
In Macalester College in St. Paul, Minnesota. I'm a full professor. I'm also an associate dean of the Kofi Annan Institute for Global Citizenship. So I do more than just act. There's also about building community and how we're also taking care of all the issues that are in our world, in addition to entertainment being one of them, but also how are we being humans to each other. I can go on about humans.
And when young humans come to you that are in your class in St. Paul, which I've been to St. Paul, it's a beautiful place, shout out to Minnesota. When they're coming to you and they want to have a career like you've had, they want to be actors, they want to be on stage, they want to be in films and TV, what's the number one thing? Because we might have some cosplay people out here, we might just have fans, people who want to get into the industry and break in. What's the number one thing you tell them?
Go to med school. No, but seriously, I always tell the parents of my students, if your child has a desire and their soul is to be in theater, to act, to sing, to dance, to play a musical instrument, let them do that, because otherwise you're stifling them because, we have to have a real job, except it's the 21st century. Our students, our young people are creating jobs that we could never even imagine. So if they're coming in and being creative, if they want to be Wonder Woman, like right here in the front row, Wonder Woman. Yes, I worked with Linda Carter, as a matter of fact, on a TV movie.
Oh,
yeah, you saw that as well. You looked at my
you gotta, the IMDb is a huge help for people like me. You gotta love IMDb.
I never pay attention. But if you do want to be in this business, think about it as a business, because you're the product that you're selling. So you better have a number one product that you're going, which means skills, which means also being nice to people. It's a really simple thing. There's a lot of people in our business who are, we'll just say, not nice because they think they're better than the people around them. But no, we all put on our pants one leg at a time. I really want to emphasize that it's because we have a human connection. Right. But what we do in theater is that we're making the human psyche extraordinary. It's extraordinary instances of ordinary experiences. So that's what this one is right here. This is extraordinary. We're sitting at the Nerd Culture 702 show, and the fabulous UniCon. This is something we could not make up. I know I couldn't have made it up 35 years ago. But now I'm here with you.
It's really an honor. We also want to mention part of this show right now is sponsored by the Back to the 80s Cafe, as we're celebrating Back to the Future right now, so clap it up for them.
Come to them. They're going to be on Maryland Avenue. There might be surprises there. Come, have some food, some burgers and things.
So let's talk a little bit more, Harry, about this whole role you played, because when you came on set, I heard, basically you were anticipating somebody else was going to be dubbing your performance, but the truth is, on the soundtrack,
He's not letting me tell the story, is he?
Is that true?
Much to say. What's your name again?
What, Mike Davis?
Right. I'm Chuck Berry's other cousin.
That's Mike Davis from Fox 5.
Thank you.
Fox 5. Fox 5. Do you have? Never mind. We won't go into.
Did you go to Princeton? You already forgot my name?
But what, do you know what I studied at Princeton?
Not remembering names, definitely.
I don't know.
It was Prince Town.
No, wow.
It was a different
so
Princeton.
this is what happens because Goldie is still bitter about not getting this job because it doesn't even sound
Earth angel, ba-doo-doo-boo, would you be mine?
We're so sad. It's
Earth angel.
sad. Don't worry.
Join in with us.
Just hang around. There might be a better version coming up.
Well, tell us the story.
I will tell you a story. Picture it. 1985. Okay, Golden Girls was shooting next to us on another TV series. But I was literally invited to an audition at Amblin Studios, which is Spielberg's little fiefdom that was in the middle of Universal. And they invited like 8 people to come and sing, like 36 bars of any song.
Not me.
Exactly, because you said you couldn't do it. We came in, we sang. It was great. No script, nothing. They had a callback. They called back 2 of us. I didn't even know. You didn't know either.
It's like the 5th Beatle.
The 5th Beatles, Pete Best. It's not looking good for Pete.
Can it be like the 6th Temptation? But anyway, so got to meet Robert Zemeckis. We go into the office. We talk about theater because I was doing a musical play at the time, and we're talking about how you commit to characters and how you find like the voice of the character, and then you give it a through line and an arc. And we had a half-hour conversation, and thank you very much. I left. The next week, I got an offer to do another TV series called He's the Mayor.
No
with Kevin Hooks.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it
so
was
you guys just keep trying to take each other's jobs, basically.
Yeah, well, basically. But Kevin Hooks, it was between Kevin Hooks and me for the lead of The Mayor. And my agent was saying, oh, you got to get this TV series. I went, but it's a Spielberg movie. So I took the movie. Needless to say, the TV series went on for like 8 episodes.
And died.
But I showed up in this, there's a church on Franklin and Highland that's still there. It has the gymnasium where we shot the film. It's still in peak condition for a 1950s gymnasium auditorium. And everybody was so excited because it was the first new thing they had shot in the movie. As they were talking, everything happened twice.
So let's give a little background for people who might not be, a little younger, may not know the entire backstory. So originally Eric Stoltz was supposed to play, Marty McFly, and they actually shot about 6 weeks of content with him, and Spielberg was out overseas during this time as an executive producer. He wasn't there. When he came back and saw the rough cuts, he kind of thought, he's not right for this role. And that's when they thought, let's go to Michael J. Fox, who was doing Family Ties at the time. And here's the crazy thing about Michael. Michael's 23 at the time. During the day... 24. Thank you. At this period in time, he's shooting Family Ties during the day, then at night goes to set and shoot Back to the Future. He's not getting a lot of sleep. It's a very hard thing to do, but it was an interesting thing, and it kind of goes back to the tone stuff we were talking about. But I want to ask you guys a few other things that are kind of up that you can give us perspective about. So this film had a $19 million production budget, okay? It ends up making...
Number might have been where did you get that information? I'm just curious. I never heard that.
It was close to $10 million spent with Eric Stoltz by himself.
It had
sat next to them
a
at
$20
lunch
million
when they were talking about it.
production budget.
I should let you finish.
In Venezuela.
And it made $388 million. And it became such a phenomenon. President Reagan spoke about it in his State of the Union address. I mean, everybody, he's looking at me. I do my research, you can trust me, okay?
I don't want to know that information.
But here's what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to get to is, it became a cultural phenomenon. And, when you're coming up in a business like acting and you're trying to get gigs and land roles, a lot of time in your personal life, you're going on auditions and you got to tell loved ones, family members, I landed this role, and nothing really amounts from these roles that you land. And then when you finally crack a role and you get something like this, and it hits, and it becomes a part of the lexicon of our world. How did your guys' life change once that happened? Because it must have been a transformational thing. Let's start with you, Claudia.
Interesting question. I actually, when I was in high school and I'd go to lunch with friends, people would come up to me and ask me for my autograph from television series I started, and episodics and movies of the week and school break specials, and before like paparazzi. Are you guys talking to each other while I'm talking? So I remember Brooke Shields was in doing a book something, and I was standing outside with my dog, and all these photographers came and took pictures of me, and her mom was like, who's that girl who's taking our photographers? So when Back to the Future came out, I didn't quite notice, other than, wow, it's at the Avco in Westwood for 9 months, and my mom was clipping newspaper clippings of how much money it was making and how well it was doing. But I went straight into another series called Fast Times that you mentioned, based on Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I played Linda Barrett we did, I think, 8 episodes. I did not notice quite how big a deal it was until about 15 years ago, when I started getting invited to appearances all over the world. And every single year it grows, and every single year there's a new generation of fans. So I'd say we're more aware of it now than any one of us was 35, 36 years ago.
You feel the same way, Don?
Yeah, like she said, we were just all actors trying to get a job, and you get a job, it's like, okay, you're gonna be working with Spielberg. Whoa, okay, that's gonna do something, You don't expect it to do what it did, and then after the job was over, you're on looking for your next job because you got to eat. Back to the Future was huge that summer, and that was back in the days before, a lot of home entertainment stuff. So it had its theater run, and boom, it was gone. I literally forgot about the film until around 2009, when I saw somewhere that there had been a Back to the Future reunion. And I'm a Back to the Future reunion? I was in Back to the Future. How come I didn't get reunioned? So I got a little bit of an attitude. Anyway, a friend came to me and he says, man, you're famous. Huh? He says, yeah, that movie Back to the Future is like this major hit now. So I did this thing, I was kind of new at the time, to this thing, it was called the Google. I typed in Back to the Future to the Google, and it just came back with pages and pages and pages of stuff about this film. So it's gotten me completely humble. I spent the entirety of my young career trying to be famous and decided to go and do something else. And then when I'm not expecting it, I get famous. Go figure.
And Harry, why would you say as a professor, why has this become part of the lexicon? What is it about the film that makes it resonate so much with people? There's a lot of great films out there, but Back to the Future, I mean, it's really top 30 all time, top 25. I mean, it's got to be up there just of all time. What is it about this film that just makes it resonate so much with people for lasting time?
You can watch it with your family. You can watch it with your grandma in the room. You can watch it with your grandkids in the room. The adults can laugh. The kids understand the comedy. It's topical. It also talks about a very specific period of time in the country that has a historic bent. I mean, the fact that they're referencing that Ronald Reagan was president, and they talk about Jack Benny and Jerry Lewis, which means the older people, there might be some of you in here who knows who those names are, will understand the comedy that's there, but also the fact of teenage love story is always, there's wrestling going on, I have a feeling, there's some big noise. We're gonna compete with them in a moment.
Let's hope it's not Biff.
We hope it's not Biff. Now, Biff, keep your hands off my girl. But the idea that you can come see this movie, and some people have told us that they've seen this movie over 100 times. Some people have seen this movie when they've been depressed or just in a bad space, and it makes them smile. And it still does, no matter where it's on, and especially around the world now, people will stop and go, oh, right, I can just watch this and be at peace. I can watch this and laugh. I can also watch this and have some joy in my life. And I know that that's one of the things that we're all looking for in all this stress is that we get to find a piece that gives us some joy, no matter what race, no matter what identity, no matter what ability you are. This famous movie does something very unique that a lot of movies can't do.
Okay, that is it for day 2 of
UniCon. I almost forgot which one we were at. I almost said Salt Lake. I wasn't even there.
It's been a long couple weeks, guys. But yeah, so that's it for day 2. We don't know what we're going to be doing yet later on, so we might take you along with that. And if we do, it may be a different video.
It is. It's probably going to be post. It's going to be a fun thing.
But that is it for today. So thank you so much for hanging out with us today. And I hope to see you guys at tomorrow's con or the next con. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next video.